have enough room on this computer to do this. Okay. So should we go to immersive view? Well, who's that behind you? I like that. Is that Calvin?
It's Calvin's baptism.
Aw. Okay, immersive. I'm going to start this. This is great.
Nice.
Okay. I love Blake's. It's awesome. Okay, here we go.
Party on, Todd.
Party on, Sal.
Rock on.
Rock on.
And party on, Blake. He won't respond because he's getting his drink. But party on, Blake.
Yes, as you
welcome
can see,
back,
Blake is
Todd.
on an adventure.
That's right. He's storming the shores of Starbucks. Anyway, welcome back, Podcasters, to another episode of the Party on JohnCast, the most excellent podcast where we talk theology, music, what we're drinking, and just otherwise righteous and awesome topics, whatever comes to mind. So Absolutely. So I am the Reverend Angel of Death, aka Reverend Sal, ordained teaching elder in the Presbytery of the Highlands in northern New Jersey, in the Presbytery of the Presbyterian Church USA, in the validated ministry of hospice chaplaincy.
We love to validate you, Sal.
Thank you. Validate me, please. I do need it. I'm self-aware enough to admit that I do need to be validated.
True story. Well, I am the Rockin' Reverend Todd Laddick, and I'm an ordained elder in the United Methodist Church of Greater New Jersey, serving in the Skylands District, serving in Newton, New Jersey, serving a congregation that used to be on higher ground than Sal, but Sal's no longer there anymore. And so I'm on higher ground to nobody.
We're co-heirs in Christ now.
We're co-heirs in Christ. So here's the deal. Like, you can look around and we're in the haunted halls of Halloween, but this is a Christmas episode. But you know what, folks? It's always Halloween around the Party on JohnCast. Let's just say this is the nightmare before Christmas. Okay. Well, I guess that brings us to our Brews segment.
Hey guys, how do you know that God loves coffee? Because he had someone, definitely not Paul, but someone write about it in the book of Hebrews. Every time. That joke is not going away.
Never goes away. Boy, we have a lot of room in this empty hall here for extra guests, but they're not probably going to manifest themselves. But Sal, I guess we're gonna have to let Blake back into the immersive view. There he is. Okay.
There we go.
So he escaped the halls. So anyway, what are you? So I guess I'll start first. I'm drinking. I was formerly drinking the blueberry pomegranate refresher, and the reason why I picked this to be my drink for the day, though I couldn't help it, it was too good, and I finished it before we recorded. But the reason why I picked it is because I had said on this podcast that Dunkin' Donuts created it. It's like crack, and then they removed it. They have since brought it back. So I'm not sure what the reason was that for, whether it was intentional or they were out of it or what, but it's back.
Pretty sure they did that on purpose.
Probably. I would not put it past them. So for my second choice, then, Poland Spring. So sparkling water. What are you drinking, Sal? And I'm sure we'll hear Blake soon.
Yeah, we'll hear Blake in a moment, but for me, I'm actually, I have a visit to do locally here in Morris County, so I'm at Panera, so if you hear the background noise, I apologize, I am at Panera. But I'm drinking Panera's light roast coffee. Panera coffee is actually pretty good. It's at least a step or two above the Death Swirl that I normally drink. That is Dunkin' Donuts. Um, closer to Starbucks than Dunkin' Donuts, but
You,
light roast.
you know what I think? I think Panera. I mean, I think Dunkin' Donuts has to have a station at on the Death Star. I think the fact that they create the Death Swirl or Death Swill, whichever one you want to call it, coffee.
Swirl.
It's gotta. They have to have a Dunkin' on the Death Star. I think the Death Star runs on Dunkin'.
I think so. And they definitely could use the Angel of Death as their marketing tool.
They could.
I'm available. They could use the extra cash.
Yeah, you're cheaper than most chaplains too. I think I've heard. So
Yeah.
it's a win-win. There's Blake.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing, Blake. What are you drinking, sir?
I am drinking a very large Starbucks, just the cold, not even the cold brew, just their iced coffee. It's my go-to, no sweetener.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a venti iced coffee, black, no sweetener from Starbucks. I have to make sure to specify the last part, otherwise they will douse it in their simple syrup.
Oh, they will.
But I was intending to sit outside at the tables and chairs they usually have out there, but everything is gone. So now we'll be doing this from the car, which is just fine. I won't be moving anymore. I'm just going to kind of sit in the Starbucks parking lot. But here we are.
Your car has become the table.
It is. It's fine.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So, have you ever had the nitro cold brew?
Oh yeah, it's good.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah, I like their nitro cold brew is good. It's one of the few things my wife will have cold too. I got her hooked on that stuff for cold coffee. She's generally a hot coffee person. I, on the other hand, am a iced coffee year-round person.
Okay.
If I buy coffee from a store, it is almost universally going to be iced.
Okay.
So,
Venti iced coffee was non-fat milk was my go-to at Starbucks.
Yeah.
And I try not to drink a lot of milk, but every now and then I treat myself to the nitro cold brew with sweet cream, which is delicious, but it's also, 100,000 calories with the sweet cream.
This guy with this beard, he does nitro cold brew just straight up, man. Just straight up like Guinness. So good.
mm-hmm.
And you get the foam all over it's just like, and then you get pulled over by a police officer and you're like, no, Ossifer, I was not drinking a Guinness while driving down the road. No, seriously, look, it's my Starbucks cup right here. So I guess that brings us into our most excellent music segment. Restaurant edition.
Starbucks restaurant edition. Starbucks
Yeah,
and
since you're
Panera
both at
edition.
different establishments. Yep, Starbucks and Panera.
Yep. I'll go first. So being that we're gonna dropping in December, in the midst of Advent, I'll go with my yearly Advent album, which is Andrew Peterson's "Behold the Lamb of God," which is a great album. Find it on wherever you play your music. It pretty much goes through the entire biblical story up to Advent to the birth of Jesus. And Andrew Peterson is a legit good, like all this stuff is theologically biblically sound. But he has a song called "The Labor of Love." We all know the beloved Christmas/Advent hymn, "Silent Night." But that night most definitely was not a silent night. I think the three of us for sure can attest, being fathers and being present for our wives giving birth, that labor is not, number one, silent, or not clean, and definitely is full of pain. So Labor of Love kind of talks about that. The lyrics are, it was not a silent night. There was blood on the ground. You could hear a woman cry in the alleyways that night on the streets of David's town. And the stable was not clean, and the cobblestones were cold. And little Mary, full of grace, with tears upon her face, had no mother's hand to hold. It was a labor of pain. It was a cold sky above, but for the girl on the ground in the dark, with every beat of her beautiful heart, it was a labor of love. Noble Joseph by her side, calloused hands and weary eyes. There were no midwives to be found on the streets of David's town in the middle of the night. So he held her and he prayed, shafts of moonlight on his face. But the baby in her womb was the maker of the moon. He was the author of the faith that could make the mountains move. It was a labor of pain. It was this cold sky above, but for the girl on the ground in the dark, with every beat of her beautiful heart, was a labor of love. For little Mary, full of grace, with tears upon her face, it was a labor of love. So,
yeah, I love that song. I love that album, and he's darn right. It was not a silent night. I mean, we all love that song because it captures the holiness and the reverence of the moment. But the holiness and the reverence of the moment should not overshadow the reality of the moment either. The reality was messy. It was messy from the get-go, trying to find a place to stay, and their only option being the street or a stable. I mean, it was messy from that point onward, and definitely not silent. It kind of like, that's why I always question the Left Behind theory, because supposedly Jesus is going to secretly rapture away his church, but when you read the supposed rapture verse, it's with horns and trumpets. Like, there's nothing secret about it.
Side note, have you guys seen the movie Red State?
No.
The Kevin Smith film?
No. Now I really want to. You say Kevin Smith.
I saw it.
I question your ability to be a resident of New Jersey and not watch every Kevin Smith film. But,
I've watched every Kevin Smith film but that one.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
It's awesome, and your comments about the horns. No spoilers because I'm not going to tell you when it comes, but it comes to fruition in a very hilarious and amazing way near the end of the movie. So highly recommend.
Best theological film in my mind that I can think of is Dogma.
100%.
Dogma is 100% brilliance. But not only have I watched, well, minus Red Tape, not only have I watched every Kevin Smith film, but I've been to their secret stash store. So I mean, Anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh, what was I gonna say? What were we talking about?
Well, we're talking about the album and the rapture coming with the horns.
Right, the Silent Night thing. Right. Yeah, so for me, look at my hair. See, this is why I shave. By the way, it's No Shave November, and you can see the hair is growing on one side of the head, but not the other. And I'm like, what is that? Oh, it's my hair. Okay. So this is why I choose to be bald, folks. If you're gonna be baldish, you might as well be bald on your terms, right, Blake?
That's right.
What I think. So anyway, so for my song, I'm gonna pick. Well, I'm gonna kind of recommend an entire album. It's called "Christmas: A Ghostly Gathering," which fits the theme of our Halloween background here. A Ghostly Gathering. It's Midnight Syndicate is they do gothic horror atmospheric instrumental soundtracks, and this is their Christmas themed soundtrack, and they're brilliant musicians, but this album captures the spirit of Christmas but throws it into a haunted house. If you could picture traditional Christmas, especially traditional Christmas hymns in a haunted house, You've got kind of what this album sounds like. It opens up with the Christmas overture, and it goes through all the themes that they're going to do on the album, but they're discordant. So it's like dun 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 dun. You know, it's like very off. Like, and they're playing like these discordant chords together, and it's just like, and you really feel like this may be Christmas time with Krampus. Rather than Christmas time with Santa. but there's this one song on it, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, and it is the most brilliant take of that song I've ever heard in my life. It captures the spirit of that song in a way that no interpretation of it that I've heard has in the past. Again, completely instrumental, but they did it kind of a Chris Tomlin thing where they do God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen and they play with that theme, but then they go out into this like refrain, even though there's no words, out into this like refrain where it's like you're almost in the realms with the angels as Christ is born. It's just so glorious, and I'm like, wow. Like, from a gothic horror atmospheric band, this is what they produce with God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. I'm like, I found myself worshiping Christ, not only the Christ child, but Christ the Lord in this song. Like, when I was listening to it. So, and my mom had the same feeling. I shared it with her, and then she wrote back telling me like, oh my God, this is what I experienced when I was listening to this, and like, so I'll definitely share it in the episode notes. You guys should check it out. Really, really good.
Right.
So, how about you, Blake?
Yeah. So for Christmas albums, Christmas music, I haven't quite gotten there yet. Though, I mean, Thanksgiving is basically upon us. Mm-hmm. And the ones that I go to every year for worship planning for the Christmas season are all the entire collection of Christmas songs that August Burns Red has done. I think Sled and Hill is the album that they most recently released with all those on it. I think that's great, but the one that I really, really love the most right now is called The Midnight Clear. It's a various artists from, I think, Tooth and Nail. And it's got some of the best takes on the traditional Christmas songs you'll ever hear, especially if you like the metal. Mm-hmm. And then continuing to lift up and repeatedly lift up the goth synth metal Kurgan Church. I just love it so much. So those are the kind of the three I'm going to be leaning on heavily through this Christmas season. So those are kind of where I'm keeping my eye, and recently kind of rediscovered the band OK Go because my daughter likes to watch music videos on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And theirs are just completely off the wall and bonkers, and she thinks they're awesome. So we've been listening to them a lot.
Sweet.
Just as a kind of a fun little aside, but
cool. Share those things with me, and I'll put them in the episode notes for sure.
Will do.
Cool. Well, that brings us to our, I guess, regular topic for today, which is going to be light and fun since we've done theological Advent before. We'll keep this light and fun, and today we're going to discuss our favorite Christmas movies. And there is just a small reveal here. For those of you who are not patrons, I am going to be revealing something pretty cool, pretty exciting, something that only the patrons will get to hear and get to see. And so if you are interested in knowing what that is, it's called Patreon. And it's $5 a month. We have the link to our Patreon account in our episode notes, and I highly encourage you to go there, support us. It's literally a latte a month. Mm-hmm. Simple.
It's a nitro cold brew.
Not asking much. So yes. What Blake is drinking there a month is what it would. That one drink there a month is what it would cost you to support us. Yep. So here's to Blake.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So okay. So who wants to go first? Well, I guess. Well, who wants to go first?
I'll go first because we're going to trade off in no specific order. They're just our favorite Christmas movies. Classic, one that I quote every time I'm asked to do grace at the dinner table by my family. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
With a, yeah,
Rub-a-dub-dub.
rub-a-dub. Every year, anytime we're at a family meal, I'm always asked to do grace. And so I always quote the scene where they're at the table and they're about to carve the turkey, and Aunt Bethany is asked to say grace, and she's half deaf. Grace, a blessing. And she says, Grace died 30 years ago. So whenever I'm asked to do grace, I always say Grace died 30 years ago. In homage to this movie. But it's one of those classic Christmas movies. It's National Lampoon's Vacation series, and
just great stuff, man. Just great.
The RV outside, emptying the RV into the sewer, and the climax of the movie is he thinks he's going to get this big bonus check, and it's a gift certificate. So
yeah. Well, I guess I'll go next. My favorite. This is one of my favorite films, and I will be watching it on Black Friday, as I always do. And this, of course, is Krampus. To me, the just golden standard of American Christmas, where Krampus, of course, is not an American tradition. That is a German and Northern European tradition. But Krampus, of course, is the alter ego to Santa. In fact, Santa's naughty and nice list really developed out of blending the Krampus and Santa myths together. Rather than, the night before Christmas, Krampus takes all the bad children to hell. and Santa brings the nice ones gifts. Now Santa just brings you coal, but yeah, so like Krampus, the reason I watch this on Black Friday every year is because the movie starts off on Black Friday, and it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go, And as that song is playing, the classic version of that song is playing, you've got like people like just running through the stores, trying to break the doors down, beating each other up, punching Santa in the face on Black Friday, and I'm thinking to myself, welcome to America. Merry Christmas, folks. It's all about Christ here, isn't it? It's all about the Christ child. And of course, that's how the movie opens up. And of course, then you go home and you find out that the family that in the home you're in that you're following is a very dysfunctional family, like most American families. and before you know it, Krampus comes and all hell breaks loose, literally. But it's done in the style of like Gremlins or it's horror, but it's more family friendly horror. If maybe not for too young of kids, but teenagers and up, maybe even a little younger than that could handle it.
Right.
So yeah, but great film, love it. Oh, and just so you can know how much I love it, let's go here. So here I'll go to gallery view so you can all see. But here we are. You see my background? Krampus, folks. Krampus. And so now we're going to go back to the immersive view because that's a lot fun. A lot more fun. So here we are. Okay, so how about you, Blake?
Well, I will go with sort of traditional suggestion. It's deemed controversial, but a Christmas movie is what you want a Christmas movie to be. And every year after Christmas Eve is done, even last year when it was a video recording on the internet, at the end of Christmas Eve day, I watch Die Hard and refuse to accept that it is Christmas until Gruber has fallen. And I will post every year on my Facebook, Gruber has fallen, Merry Christmas.
Gruber's falling is the clocking in of Christmas for sure.
That was my second movie.
Yeah, find another song in that film, soundtrack or otherwise, that isn't Christmas themed or Christmas related too. Like You can't watch that movie and not be in the midst of Christmas in that movie. It's throughout.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Doesn't matter that it was released in July. It doesn't matter that it's an action film.
Nope.
It ticks the boxes of Christmas movies everywhere.
Yep.
Also, was my introduction to the world of hip hop through Argyle. I had never heard hip hop before, and then I watched Die Hard, and I realized, hey, there's this other kind of music I might like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the tried and true every year. And then at some point during the Christmas season every year, I will watch what is my reigning favorite Christmas movie, which I think will quickly become yours, Todd. And it is called Rare Exports.
Yes, I want to see this. I'm so excited now.
And yes, and it is a Finnish movie, which means you know it's going to be good and weird.
Yep.
And the basic premise is it actually really is best started at the beginning of Advent, because it's a countdown to Christmas. The whole movie is a countdown to Christmas night. And, it's, the basic premise is that this American mining company is blowing the top off of a mountain because they have found something precious. And then all of a sudden, strange things start occurring and strange people start showing up and endangering the local populace. And I will not ruin the end for you, but it's just phenomenal. My Danish friends showed it to me after I showed them Troll Hunter, which is another one of my favorite Scandinavian classics. It's an annual thing for me at this point. My wife doesn't watch it. She can't handle it more than once every 5 or 6 years. But for me, it's one of my annual rewatches for sure.
We'll definitely be checking that out. Sounds like right up my alley. Which, if you don't mind, Sal, I'm going to throw one in and go back to you then. So since we're on the theme of Christmas horror movies, you have to check out. Well, there's a couple ones you have to check out. You have to check out A Christmas Horror Movie with William Shatner. And that is an anthology film that follows 4 different groups of people. And William Shatner is a late night radio host who's half drunk and leading people in a narrating kind of way through the anthology, but it's done brilliantly. It's a mix of comedy and horror, so it's like a black comedy really, but it's definitely got horror and gore in it, and it gets over the top at some parts, but not in a way that is too over the top, but just in your face kind of stuff to make it more horror. But it's such a cool storyline, and the way they blend all 4 stories together into one overarching thing is really, really neat. And I won't give away the ending either, because you will not see the ending coming. It's one of those endings. It's pretty cool. But the other one is I already said Krampus. The other one is Better Watch Out, which is a Home Alone type horror movie. That is a bit black comedy as well, and that one does get over the top. It takes some of the things from Home Alone, and then shows you what would have really happened to those people. Say if a paint can came swinging down at your face. So it's that sort of thing. But it, again, great film. Just you have to watch it, and you will not regret watching it. I promise. Okay, Sal, your turn.
Sure. Before I mention my next one, to add to the controversy of Die Hard, is it okay to watch it before Thanksgiving? That's another. Throw that into the mix. But
well, sure, anyway. It's okay to watch it any time of the year, but it is a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie.
I mean, I could watch Frosty the Snowman in June if I wanted.
Anytime. So another good Christmas movie is Bad Santa. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's a dark comedy with Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
Plays a mall Santa, and very dysfunctional mall Santa.
Dysfunctional is one way to put it.
And they plan to rob the store that he's being a mall Santa in. So anyway, just a good, very dark humor. Definitely not a family movie.
Yeah, definitely not a family. Hey kids, let's go watch the Santa movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad idea to take your kids to that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. The other thing that's coming up for us is, as I am sure you know, the season of the cheesy Christmas romantic comedies is upon us.
yes, of course. Hallmark,
Hallmark, and Lifetime, and so here's the deal, though. My wife and I watch them a lot. And it was made better by the advent of something my sister-in-law created 2 years ago, which is a bingo, a random generator bingo card spreadsheet. And so what she's done is collected all of the tropes that these movies consistently mine for their movies, put it into a spreadsheet that will randomly generate basically an infinite number of bingo cards, and then you sit and watch the movie trying to get a bingo. It makes them much, much more enjoyable. And so my wife is about to have our second child, and she is very, very excited about getting to go through maternity leave and watch as many of these as possible.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it makes them quite a bit more enjoyable to watch.
I was going to say, you have to do something to make them more enjoyable to watch, because they're basically the same story every movie.
Basically the same story every movie, but like it is fun to just kind of like, I mean, it's almost like hate watching a little bit, right? I mean, you just kind of watch, and so like, is she a marketing executive? Is he an architect trying to build a new rec center? Because that happens so often that you're pretty much guaranteed to check it off of your bingo card.
That's so awesome. Well, that's what makes the bingo work. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a ton of fun, and like there's also like seasons where there was I guess Lifetime. It was a Lifetime or Hallmark. I guess 1 year, every movie they made had Snowstorm Megan. And so like you would get a check for every time you get Snowstorm Megan on your scorecard. So yeah, it's definitely changed my ability. Initially I made fun of my wife relentlessly for watching these all the time, but then with the scorecards, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty enjoyable.
Well, yeah, that makes it fun.
Yeah.
I guess I'll throw in, this is more on the religious side, but there isn't a Christmas that I go without watching, usually on Christmas Eve, the Nativity Story, which came out in 2004, I think. And I just love the realistic approach they had to the Nativity Story, even though they are blending Matthew and Luke together. They really do it in a way that is, I think, truthful to both Matthew and Luke, but also truthful to the times and the context in which Jesus was born in, getting a real view of what like the Middle Eastern Herod would have looked like, and they didn't pick somebody who looked white. They didn't pick somebody who looked white to play Joseph. In fact, Oscar Isaac, love that guy. Oscar Isaac plays Joseph in that film.
Yeah, right.
So yeah.
I just saw on Twitter that there's, I don't know if you guys have seen the new Dune movie.
I have not yet, but I want to.
New Dune, and there's the sort of he does the self-sacrifice thing in the Dune movie. So there's comparisons that he wasn't in Nativity, so he's kind of been in those savior type movies before. So
yeah,
there's an interesting comparison.
That's right. He's in Dune, isn't he, Oscar Isaac?
Yeah.
Great actor, man. I love him. Yeah. So. Any other movies, or are we movied out?
Well, I think you can.
Well, I've
got one more too.
It's not specifically a Christmas movie, but my wife and I will routinely go on our Apple TV to the new trailers just to see what's popping out there. Mm-hmm. There is soon to come out, I believe on Black Friday itself, a new Bruce Campbell zombie movie called Black Friday, where the shoppers turn to zombies and try to destroy the store staff, and it just goes completely insane, as any Bruce Campbell movie should.
This is awesome. This is definitely a holiday movie.
And I saw it, and I was like, I have to tell Todd about this.
Mm-hmm.
Have to.
Yep.
What's it coming out on?
I think it's coming out this Black Friday. So next Friday.
On which subscription or which channel?
I don't know. I didn't see that in the trailer.
I'll look at it.
But I mean, you might as well just plan to buy it on Apple TV as soon as it releases, because know you're going to love it.
Yep, of course. Black Friday 2020. No, Black Friday movie. That's what I'll do.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, it looks like an absolute ton of fun.
Coming out this Friday, actually.
This Friday. Okay. So, is it going to be in theaters or is it just streaming?
I'm looking that up right now.
It'll be in theaters as well.
It will be in theaters. What do you know what it's on? I'm not finding that. Where can I see Black Friday movie? That'll probably answer the question. On Disney? No, not Disney Plus, right?
That can't be right.
Watch Black Friday on Disney Plus and Hotstar VIP. That can't be right. That's gotta be a different Black Friday. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll figure it out. I'm sure our guests don't want to hear us like bantering about not finding something on Google, but it's on there. We'll figure it out. Check out Black Friday, maybe on Disney Plus. We'll see. I'm having a hard time believing Disney Plus picked up a Bruce Campbell film.
Drastic departure in Disney Plus's brand recognition.
I think it would be a very drastic departure. Yes, I mean, hey, I'm all for it, but I'm sure most people won't be. So okay, and you were gonna have a movie there.
You said you have it?
Well, you can't go through Christmas season without watching Elf.
Oh, Elf, of course, of course, Elf. And I'll even throw in. There's a couple of classics I like. My wife and I always watch "It's a Wonderful Life," which I think you could watch. The funny thing is while Die Hard is definitely a Christmas movie, the only thing that's really Christmassy about "It's a Wonderful Life" is the very end sing when they're singing "Hark the Herald Angels Sing." Like that film takes through all different aspects of his life, all different times of the year, and it's the end that really is Christmas. So you could really watch that film any time of the year and it would be appropriate. I love, we also watch White Christmas, which is another classic that I grew up watching and I really, really love. And of course, Home Alone. I can't not watch Home Alone. The original.
Yeah,
I can miss the Donald Trump sequel and all of that stuff, I don't need that.
Yeah. Muppet Christmas Story is also that's a Christmas morning watch for us every single year. I also highly recommend looking up the Brett Goldstein does all of the songs from A Muppet Christmas Story in 6 minutes video. So Roy Kent does A Muppet Christmas. It's amazing.
Okay, Roy Kent.
Well, Brett Goldstein, but Roy Kent from Ted Lasso.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Brett Goldstein is the guy's name.
Okay.
And so he just kind of and what's amazing about that video is it's the only time he's ever done it, and he just did it from memory, and nobody in the crowd knew it was going to happen. But it turns into this really special moment where everybody starts singing along with him because it's such a fun little bit of joy. It's really great.
Yep, I found it. Cool. I'll check it out. Sounds awesome. Any other movies for the good of the order?
If you can get your hands on a copy of it, the Star Wars Christmas or holiday special.
Yes, and that's memorable for the wrong reasons.
That's right. It is on Disney Plus.
Yep.
So
it's a part of the expanded Star Wars cinematic universe that they have on Disney Plus now.
Yeah. Wow.
That was the first real introduction of Boba Fett.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
So,
That's right, because that was after the success of the first film, and then they came out with the second film, which he was in. Well, it did not go well with critics or viewers when it first came out. But all these years later, it seems appropriate that you can view it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
They tried to do a good thing, and nowadays they pull it off much better. But you know, Star Wars and Christmas stuff. While there's definitely parallel themes, they don't really blend so well.
So I will say, I have often considered, I get the urge to watch Star Wars every Christmas because USA used to run them back to back to back for 24 hours on Christmas Day.
It makes sense because, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it makes sense because, I mean, whether you look at Anakin, who was the one that was supposed to come and deliver them, or you look at Luke Skywalker as that extension of that coming hope, that Messiah-like figure. I mean, the themes are definitely there.
Yeah. It's, to me, I think about it a lot in terms of just the tradition of it, because I have clear memories of waking up and watching the first one while everybody else was sleeping. I'd get a little bit into Empire in time for us to go up to my grandpa's house. By the time we got back, Empire would be finishing again, and then I would watch Jedi after everybody went to bed. And so that was kind of like my Christmas day. And so that's just, to me, there's just a tradition, kind of a natural urge toward it, which, all of our churches have these natural urge toward things that probably have nothing to do with Christmas, but we did it every year, so it counts.
Yeah. I think this is so cool that we're like speaking from picture frames.
Right?
Like, I saw this, I'm like, oh, come on. This is so much better.
very cool.
Are they trying to say I have a big head? Is there a reason why they gave me like a big picture frame? Like, are they trying to say that I'm elongated or something, or like, I have a big head?
Are you
Just force perspective.
What was that?
Are you
You're the host, maybe?
Maybe I am the host, so maybe that's why.
Right.
That may make sense. Yes. But there are other big picture frames in here, so I'm not getting why. Well, it's a swipe at me. I'm sure Zoom is swiping me. I got it. Swiper, stop swiping. That was a reference to Dora. Sorry. I'm sure you know that, Blake.
Yeah.
So this seems like a good place for us to end our episode and hop on over to our bonus episode. So there are definitely going to be some awesome things to check out in the episode notes. Remember that for just a cold brew or a latte or an iced coffee a month, you could be supporting this podcast and helping us get the good news of Jesus Christ out to the world. Everything we do comes out of our own pockets, except for what our patrons provide us with out of their generosity. So we would love for you to do that. Again, it's not much, and it would help us out greatly. With all of that said, be excellent to each other.
And don't be a jerk.
And I think you have a cheers for us.
Oh, yes. Skull.
Skull. Rock on.